What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, where we're going to be breaking down NXT Halloween Havoc 2024. We got our preview and our predictions going on here. And if you don't know who we are, I am your host, somewhat as always, but not recently, Tony Mango. And I'm joined as always by Robert E. Felice.
Hey everyone, now Tony, you're the regular host. But we do thank Callum for everything he does, just in general.
Callum filling in, doing a great job handling the Wrestle Dream coverage, some hot tags and everything. If you didn't check out those episodes, go back and check them out. Show Callum some love for doing all that. Greatly appreciated of that. Callum not on this podcast today because it is 12:30 in the morning Eastern time zone, and it is an NXT show, and he doesn't watch NXT, so we figured, we'll just do what we've been doing a lot lately. I think we've done this for past 4 or so NXT pay-per-views where we're just after the episode of NXT, we already know the card. And I mean, this one we don't in some ways, but I'll talk about that in a minute too. We know the card outside of one of the things that is specifically they don't want you to know what it is because everybody wants a mystery box. This card's been booked by J.J. Abrams. # Star Wars sequels suck.
A boat's a boat, but the mystery box.
It could be anything. It could be a boat. For all we know, it could be Ricky the Steamboat.
Isn't that a dragon?
No, old school. God, when the hell was that joke made? For Ricky the Steamboat, and then it turned into all sorts of other kind of boat jokes. I looked that up on the handy dandy joke index list that I've got up on smarkoutmoment.com. So that was, let's do a search for boat. The Road to WrestleMania 2014. 10
years ago. Almost 11.
Damn it, I want to kill myself.
No.
Yeah, that was how did I write this down on the thing? Rather than referring to him as Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Drew said Ricky the Steamboat, which then turned us into him being Ricky Boat, and his nickname was the Steam. And then that turned into the South Park Tugger thing, so it became Tugger the Tugboat, which is now Ricky Boat's brother, Tugger Boat, aka the Tug, so Tugger the Tugboat. And then it became Tugger the Tugboat Boat, and then Tugger the Tugboat. Fucking stupid. Oh my god, that's what you get with this podcast. So I don't know what random boat stuff you're gonna get on this episode. It's Halloween Havoc, so it should be more pumpkins and stuff. As far as we know, the Spin the Wheel Make a Deal doesn't have anything boat related on there, but maybe Tugboat's gonna pop up. And we have 5 matches to talk about here. One of them is kind of up in the air a little bit, but we'll talk about that too.
There's way more. Is there not more than 5?
Nope, just 5 matches that are announced at least right now. They're doing the kind of thing when they are taking some of those matches and they're putting them on next week, essentially. Because the NXT Heritage Cup match is happening next week. Lexus King and Blank, if he can even get a corner man, up against Charlie Dempsey, because, hey, your dad probably respects you for the Heritage Cup. That's the storyline there. And then Supersonic Duo, Axiom and Nathan Fraser, are going up against Cedric Alexander and Javon Evans, because Javon Evans slapped Nathan Fraser. And those are the only thing announced for next week. But we have 5 matches announced for NXT Halloween Havoc, at least as far as this. Maybe they announce something else in the meantime, but they've typically not been doing that. And sometimes they've been having 6 matches on these, and they've been putting one on the pre-show, which right now the countdown is scheduled to be an hour-long countdown. It's the 6 p.m. time frame for Eastern time zone, and then the pay-per-view starts at 7. So maybe they do announce anything, but oddly, they didn't on this episode. And once the NXT episode is done, they usually don't bother to do anything. They're not going to announce something probably on that, like SmackDown, for instance. But as we break down,
tag team situation could happen at Halloween Havoc if they wanted.
Actually, if they wanted to try to do something with that, they have been doing a lot with Lash Legend and Jakar Jackson.
They're definitely taking advantage for the first time ever of hey, everyone from every show can challenge for these belts. I've actually really enjoyed the storylines.
It's almost like they just remembered that this was a thing from however many years ago when they said that, and then they just didn't do anything for all that time.
Literally right after they were created in 2019, Sasha and Bayley were like, yep, we're going to come in NXT.
And then they didn't. Well, if they do announce anything else in the meantime, especially if they announce something before the hot tags, then we'll address that then. But if not, then you'll just, get the live reaction when they end up doing that. And we'll have our live coverage up on smarkandmoment.com. I'll have my stuff up on EWN, usual kind of breakdown and stuff. And as per usual, we always want to know what you have to say about this stuff. So keep in mind that you can shout out your opinions on all sorts of different platforms. smarkandmoment.com, Facebook, Twitter. You could be on our Discord server. You can be leaving a comment below on YouTube. And that is, of course, a great way to get an immediate response. But not immediate, I check it 24/7, but I do try to respond back to these. So keep in mind, if you are on YouTube, then you can click on all these other sorts of buttons so you can see up on your screen too. And they always help us out quite a bit. Hit the like button on this video, double check you are subscribed, ring the notification bell for the email alerts, including the one when we go live on the post show, which should be immediately following this on Sunday night, probably around 10 something or other, 10:30 or so. It kind of depends on how long they feel like going. Redbubble and TeePublic is where you can pick up merchandise if you want to help us out on the monetary side of things. And also, if you want to help us out with that, there are some buttons that you should click on YouTube that do the same sort of things. Thanks button is like the tip jar. Super chats on the live chats. And if you click on the join button, it's the same as the Patreon. So remember in mind, you got the Darkcast tier, you got the Pick Your Poison tier, and you also have the Ad Block Forgiveness tier, which if you're from that point onward, you get anything that we release ahead of time, right when we release it. And, you're able to check out that fantasy booking of the Halloween Havoc, the fantasy spooking of that weeks in advance, if that was the case. I think it was Ash had left a comment of like, I don't know what the hell I'm watching, but I'm enjoying it. Something along those lines.
Yeah, Cal kind of had the same vibe. He was like, I didn't see all of it, but I looked at some of it, and it looked like a time.
So yeah, keep all that in mind too, and even $1 a month is greatly appreciated too, especially in this current climate. So, yeah, let's start breaking this card down, and I guess let's start with the match that we still don't know all the information for. So NXT has been doing this Halloween Havoc thing for a little while now, and they've been completely taking this gimmick of the spin the wheel, make a deal thing. Here's the glass half empty, cynical point of view. The wheel's kind of stupid. First off, we know it's rigged. That's not my problem with it. They're going to rig it. And you don't want it to kind of be on like the wrong thing, and then it's like, now we got to go problems and stuff. What I hate about it is when they fill it with things that are all the exact same thing. And we have a match, a Devil's Playground match. We'll talk about later. That's a no DQ match. We have a tables, ladders, and scares match. What I've said a million times with the TLC matches are just ladder matches. There's no difference whatsoever. And this one's even more of a what the hell are you doing type of a thing. So they have been saying for the past 2 weeks, Kelani Jordan is going to defend the NXT Women's North American Championship. Maybe, they always kept saying like maybe, against somebody from Fatal Influence. Fallon, Henley, Jacy, Jayne, or Jazmyn Nix. And Ava perpetually said, well, I'm not going to give you the match unless such and such. And they never established that they were actually going to get the match. Well, tonight on NXT, they're like, okay, 2 of you are going to fight Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer. Ended up being Fallon, Henley, and Jacy, Jayne, because it almost always is. Jazmyn Nix barely ever wrestles. I don't know what they're doing with her.
I respect it, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're the 2 better ones. So, yeah, why not? And then there was nothing stating that like, oh, the person who wins is going to be the one that gets the match, or if you don't win, then you don't get the match. They didn't bother to do that at all. Instead, what they said was, and we'll spin the wheel afterward, and that'll let you know who you're fighting. So what happens in the match itself? Well, they lose. Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer win, and the Fatal Influence, aka Flatulence, goes and
I wish you wouldn't do that.
yeah, I'm gonna do it until you write it in an article at some point. Then I'll stop. Then they just go straight like we're gonna lick our wounds or whatever, but we're gonna straight into the wheel. Jacy Jayne spins it, and it lands on Spinner's Choice. And Fallon Henley goes, well, looks like, and then they just cut, and it's Delta, aka Zarya, is her new name.
Well, okay, hear me out. What? So, first, I guess I should say, first of all, my idea for Spinner's Choice is this is just a way to get all of them in. Like, they can now pick a gimmick that will allow all of them to fight Kelani.
It could be, because it's not only Spinner's Choice of who is going to be in the match, but I guess what type of match.
I thought it was just Spinner's Choice of step. Because first of all, I thought that the deal was last week. Ava said, if you can beat them, one of you will get the thing.
Yeah, that's what she said. And they lost, yet at the same time,
but then they
just ignored it.
Anyway, because they're like, screw it, you know where this is going.
And it's just one of Fatal Influence. So it's, technically speaking, that's the last thing that they left it off as, is Kelani Jordan's defending the title against one of those three in a Spinner's Choice who the fuck knows match. Here's Zarya.
Now, Zarya coming out, and she could have her own segment, but I had initially thought, okay, she's going to help Roxanne and Cora win. Now I'm not so sure. But what if Spinner's Choice is Zarya takes the title from Kelani? That'd be stupid in terms of Fatal Influence not getting the title, but they could just want to get it off Kelani.
It could be that, because why would she be popping up at that segment? She didn't do anything other than interrupt Fatal Influence of all people. Or is Zarya going to be like, it's like, we're going to choose that it's a 3-on-1 handicap match, and Zarya is going to pop up and screw over Fatal Influence.
Why?
No fucking idea.
That's why it makes more sense for her to be the heater for Roxanne and Cora, who Booker T tried to call the Divas of Destruction.
They are, which one's Beth and which one's Natalia?
No, that's the Divas of Doom. This is their own thing.
Oh, that's right. They were the Divas of Doom. That's, yeah.
And I don't know, by the way, why would Zarya's promo read Halloween Havoc and then
pop up before Halloween?
Pop up seconds before the close of NXT.
It's stupid.
NXT is my favorite show. I've said this before. I'll say it again. NXT is my favorite show. It's the one show a year where one show a week. I wish it was one show a year. One show a week where I feel like, okay, this is a light and airy kind of show. It's very playful. It's a lot of fun, you know. But that being said, I'd like to see one of Fatal Influence win here.
You just said flatal. I'm almost getting you.
I did say.
You said flatal Influence.
Flatal. You did not hear anything. I've thought the word every single time you've said it now.
You're welcome.
That's Pavlov's dog bullshit.
Ding. Where's that however bell? Speaking of old shows. If they go with Zarya, then I have to be like, okay, well then she probably just beats Kelani. If they go with one of the Fatal Influence people, they still have a chance to beat Kelani. But it's really weird to me to think like, well, why would it just be like Jacy? Why would it just be Fallon? Why would they decide, I don't want it, let's go with one of the other two members of the team? Because this crew still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Jacy and Jazmyn have been a team for a while, but Fallon was like feuding with them for the longest time, and then she's like, you know, I'm going to be a bitch now. How about I just be friends with the bitches? And then they just became best friends.
Hey. Yeehaw, okay? You won't get me to say a bad word about Fallon Henley.
I like Fallon Henley a lot. But I wouldn't be opposed to her winning the championship. I wouldn't be opposed to Jacy winning it. Jazmyn certainly can't win this championship right now. But this whole thing, just, I don't know. This could go in a lot of different ways, and I could see a lot of them being really bad. I could see a few of them being kind of interesting, but I ultimately think it's going to be something that's really stupid.
Yeah, but I think that's just, you're preconditioned to be pessimistic.
Yeah, I mean, the boy who cried wolf. And I like, WWE. Like, I love this shit. If I didn't, I wouldn't be doing it. Well, to a certain extent, I don't love everything. Well, but
yeah, we're getting there.
We are, you can say that about life in general. But the
yes, you can.
But I don't know. The mystery box thing to me reads as desperation more than anything to be super excited about.
Well, I got news for you. A boat to vote. Natalia's not here. So I'm going to say, I'll say Kelani retains until I see what actually happens.
That's where I'm leaning right now, too. Because you figure mathematically, look, if she goes up against Jazmyn, she certainly retains. If she goes up against Fallon or Jacy, I can't picture one of them holding the championship and being declared the definitive leader of this group.
I would get Jacy. I could see being the definitive leader.
That sucks for Fallon.
Yeah,
because then she's Fallon's just relegated to being even lower in a position than she was with Kiana James.
No, not necessarily.
Because at least with what's that?
You just said Kiana James. At least Fallon Henley's on TV.
Oh, we know 2 reasons why Kiana James hasn't been.
Ew.
She got a leg injury, right?
Yeah. Actually, honest to God, I think it was either like a leg thing or a knee thing, because they all are.
No, I think it's that and, the other thing.
And the other thing.
I mean, she posted it on Instagram. It's not news at this point. But, yeah, I mean, the Zarya thing throws me off. It could just be literally, let's do this thing to get people talking, and it doesn't matter if it's interrupting because we just don't want to answer the spinner's choice, and that'll be a good way to end the show with like a what the fuck kind of moment. That's kind of where I'm leaning. I don't think Zarya is coming out for this. I think Zarya is coming out for the women's tag match, and then this is just going to be one of those 3 in some kind of generic no DQ thing that they call something else. Like, actually, did we have a picture of the wheel? Let me see if I can find the wheel.
Realistically, it should be a fatal 4-way.
I mean, it should be in some ways.
Yeah, but I mean, and their fatal influence, like it writes itself.
I can only find like the older wheel picture with like Shotzi in front of it and all.
Is she healthy enough to host this thing?
They didn't announce anything, at least. So I guess not. But I liked when they did that with Shotzi and Scarlett. I thought that was cool, where they were like dressing up and all.
Mm-hmm.
That ended up being like one of my more favorite costumes of the year. I forget which.
Okay, I'm looking at the wheel.
So we got a lights out match, which is, if I remember correctly, no DQ. And that's it.
Unsanctioned, but that doesn't mean as much in WWE.
Devil's Playground, we'll talk about later. That's no DQ. Tables, Ladders, and Scares. Talking about that. Trick or Street Fight, which is just no DQ.
Ambulance, which they have.
Ambulance, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Boiler Room Brawl, which is a false count anywhere, but only in the one spot in the back thing. A Biker's Chain match. A Lumberjack Lantern match. A Casket match. A Stretcher match. A Coal Miner's Glove match. And Spinner's Choice. So it's no DQ, no DQ, no DQ, no DQ kind of a thing.
Well, they're all no DQ.
But like, generic no DQ, like the Trick or Street Fight. Like there's nothing different from a Trick or Street Fight compared to a Devil's Playground.
The kendo sticks look like candy corn.
That should just be anything. So the Spinner's Choice thing, I don't know what they're going to do with that, but
if they don't go with some kind of like 3-on-1, I think it's going to be a Trick or Street Fight.
Probably. And then it'll just be like, okay, well, that's going to be 3-on-1 anyway. and then they beat the crap out of Kelani, and then 2 people come out and help her out. Maybe it's Bianca and Jade. Maybe it's 2 people that are still on the NXT roster, like a Lola Vice type or something. Or
wasn't that the whole deal with Jada Parker? Like, she wanted to beat the shit out of Phil Influence?
Yeah, and then she was just like, nah, never mind. I'm mad at the person that's helping me. And then, fuck Tatum Paxley, I guess.
Oh, I think she's going to shut that down for Lori.
Coming out of the trunk?
Yeah. She's going to help Rosemary and Wendy win the TNA tag titles.
She's going to help them win?
Yeah.
Even though she's
so. They kidnapped her. They want to play with her. That's her whole thing. She's looking for friends.
That's how they play?
I mean, yeah, they're spooky.
Creepy and the kooky?
And altogether ooky.
I'm looking at the list of the NXT talent right now. Just try to figure out like who else could be in the mix for this to kind of try to help out Kelani. And mostly everybody else is involved in something else. Like Carmen Petrovich has her whole I want to fuck Ashanti, but I don't story.
No, but I'm mad that he won't just pay attention to just me.
Who is the blonde girl, by the way? Do we still not know who the hell that chick is?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because I can't seem to find any information about like what her actual name is. That's
Does she have a gimmick name?
Any name whatsoever. I can't find any information about who she is. It's just the blonde girl that's in NXT because I'm one of the only people out there that cares about shit, it seems. As I look up to see if anybody at this point at 12:45 in the morning still yet doesn't know what's happening with NXT Level Up. Entire internet. No. But yeah, like Brinley Reese is doing the whole Ashanti thing. Rizzo's got attacked. Nikita Lyons is like, I'm a heel now. I don't know. Maybe they just throw somebody like the Bianca and Jade in there for that. Maybe they throw somebody else in there. But I am leaning right now. If it's a member of Fatal Influence, I still just can't picture that one of them wins. And it's just the belt on one of these 2. And they're the definitive leader. But it could very well be the case. So I wouldn't be shocked if that is how they go. But for now, I'm going to go Kelani Jordan retains.
I agree with you.
Now, the other women's matches on the card we just talked about, to a slight extent, Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez against Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer. And this is just a tag team match. No gimmick to it.
And I like that way.
I would like it that way if it was the main event of NXT, but not as a pay-per-view match.
I think it's okay to do one of these every now and again. Especially when you're trying to get your shit in and show how stacked your division is.
See, I was hoping that this would have been a fatal 4-way.
I'm good with Roxanne and Cora being a tag team. I don't want to see them feud again. And I'm sticking with my guns. I think they're winning, and I think Zarian is helping them.
Andrew Zarian?
No, Zaria. I said Zarian. Damn it. That's going to happen a couple times.
It kind of depends on what they want to go here. Do they want to do with the Zarya thing and set that up and just have like, okay, there's the 3 of them and they're all kind of in the mix for the title. Because Giulia didn't win that when a lot of us were thinking that she was going to. And who do you pick? Who do you pass over? Do you put the belt on Giulia and, kind of pass over Stephanie? Do you give it to her and pass over Giulia and just have her lose multiple times? I don't know. But it is a freaky situation to be like, again, in the same sort of situation as the North American title. If you put the belt on one, you're saying that the other one isn't as important. And there is a part of me that kind of just thinks maybe neither of them is beating Roxanne immediately soon. And it wouldn't shock me if they won this tag match, Vaquer got a title shot and lost, so that both she and Giulia lose. and this continues for a little bit and gets into like Stand and Deliver or something. Or it wouldn't shock me at all, just the same, if Jade and Perez just win. Maybe Zarya is the reason why. And then Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer are kind of in that like holding pattern. So I'm actually going to go Perez and Jade as well.
I completely fantasy booking here. I'd like Giulia and Stephanie to potentially win the WWE tag titles, and hey, look, I could be on Raw and SmackDown, and you just helped your division by 2.
More and more, I'm thinking that Bianca and Jade are keeping them into Mania.
I think we'll see, but I think no. Until I see otherwise, I think Charlotte Bianca is still the move.
Full. They're just going to do Tiffany and Charlotte.
I think you're underestimating how much time we have.
Well, that depends on when Charlotte returns.
She should be good to go. The prognosis was 9 months, and it wasn't in December.
I don't know. But at the same time, I did not anticipate that they would still be doing Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax.
I still think that there's a chance Rhea Ripley wins that title.
It feels like it should be Rhea versus Nia, right? And then they've been building the other one, and okay. If you want to do that match, that's odd that you're doing that right now. But since I didn't get a chance to talk about this, this announcement came after I was in Brazil. This Crown Jewel Championship thing, it's like, all right, you're basically doing the Survivor Series thing without doing the Survivor Series matches. So Triple H definitely does not like Survivor Series elimination matches. That's for sure. And then this is bragging rights without the bragging rights. It's the champion versus champion thing with only the world titles. I'm not opposed to it. I like parts of it.
Look, a lot of people hate it, and I get it. We hate everything having to do with Saudi. I get it, right? But I think it's a clever way to go. Hey, here's another thing you get to look forward to every year that you can start fantasy booking. You know, it gives Crown Jewel their own championships. It makes it seem like it's a big deal. And it kind of allows for the intergender shit that they seem to want to do at this time every year anyway.
How you get an intergender out of this?
I say intergender?
Mm-hmm.
I meant interpromotional.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly the way I would have done it, but yeah, I'll take what I can get. I'm still going to do my fantasy booking, what if Survivor Series kind of a thing. Somehow, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
I don't think that I would have done Nia and Liv.
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
But I guess that's just a way of going, haha, you see, it's not always as easy to predict, is it?
Haha, we're going to give you a match that's not as good.
Even though it's like so clear, we're still going to have the story be about Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going Perez and Jade. You are as well, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's move over to the ambulance match. Andre Chase against Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland and Andre Chase were the tag team champions. 19 days later, they lose the belts. Ridge Holland gets pissed, beats the shit out of Andre Chase, beats the shit out of Duke Hudson, beats the shit out of Riley Osborne, beats the shit out of him again because I guess they ran out of time and they decided, well, nobody remembers that, and just did it again. And then they finally have Andre Chase make his return. They don't really follow it up a whole lot, but then they decide to cram in there this week one quick backstage thing, pre-taped video package promo of Andre Chase being like, hey, listen, motherfucker, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you in the ambulance match. And Ridge Holland going like, nah, me. So it's it's been built up for a while. It's something that makes sense. And at this point, if Ridge Holland's beaten all the other people and he sent Andre Chase packing and all, if he just does it again, what's the point? So I feel like it's got to be Andre Chase and the other people all ganging up on Ridge Holland and beating him.
Yeah, it's a health class exhibition. I'd say. My ultimate fantasy dream is Iggy pops out of the ambulance.
Instead of coming back to help save the New Day, he comes back to be like, "Fuck you, Ridge Holland."
2 birds. He could do that on Sunday and then be on Raw on Monday. You know how this is. I want Big E to come back, but I know that that ship is probably sailed, unfortunately. I'm torn here because I'm really over Jacy. I'm really like, okay, we need to see everybody move on a little bit. But at the same time, I don't want to see Ridge Holland win here. It seems not beneficial to the story. So I'd put Jacy over.
I don't know where they go from here in either direction. If it's Ridge Holland that wins, it just makes Jacy look awful. And then they just probably... Holland moves on. Andre Chase is like, he disappears for a while. Eventually, Jacy just shows back up and they act like nothing ever happened. And if they go with what I think they're going to go with, Andre Chase wins and Ridge Holland takes a little bit of time off, whether it's a week or 2 that he's like not actually scheduled. I feel like the best case scenario, at least the only one I can think of, I don't know what the hell they have planned. Maybe they have like all these tricks up their sleeve for me to be like, oh, I didn't know that you were going to, sign this person or, blah, blah, blah. I think Ridge Holland needs to go back to Shawn Spears. And Spears needs to have both Ridge Holland and Brooks Jensen to be his 2 like right and left hand man types. And the 2 of them can go for the tag titles or something.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I had too much interest here. But I think Babyface should win.
I think that the Babyface is up against a pretty big hill, but in a way that I think he still is going to win when it comes to the North American Championship match, because Tony D'Angelo is defending against Oba Femi in a tables, ladders, and scares, aka just a regular ladder match. And because this is a ladder match, it makes it so much easier for Oba Femi to lose. He already took a pinfall, and that was already pretty surprising. So I don't think he's taking a second one, but realistically, this is going to be a ladder match that you need to grab the belt. Not one of the ones that, I forget what that, you probably would know because you're good at like remembering random ass, like, oh, and that was like Survivor Series of like 2015, and it was that 4th match on the card or something. What was the TLC match that they actually had where you could just pin the person?
So they did that with the Shield when there was no actual title on the line in the Barclays in 2012.
So dumb.
I thought it was fine, especially given the match they ended up having.
A no DQ match, a street fight. A no holds barred match.
Yeah, but we hadn't seen the Shield yet, so it stuck out really well. As far as tables, ladders, and scares, which is such a silly name, I agree with you. I think Tony D should probably win here, but at the same time, they've been doing a lot of hot potato lately.
They have been,
which I'm a fan of, as we know.
I like baked potatoes better than hot potatoes.
I mean, as long as baked potato's hot, it's still hot potato.
Sure. What's your go-to baked potato filling?
Oh, you gotta have a little bit of sour cream.
See, I don't do the sour cream.
Really, you should try it.
I do the butter. If I have the option, of course, I do the cheese. I do the bacon if I can. Sometimes I skip the bacon.
You gotta do the bacon.
To me, it's there's layers. It's you gotta have the butter 100%, and then give me the cheese. If you don't have the cheese, that's okay. I'll fuck with the butter by itself. But give me the cheese, definitely. Give me the bacon. There might be an opportunity where I might turn it down. It kind of depends on how salty I want this to be. But man, I could go for a twice baked potato. I haven't had one of them in a while.
A little bit of green onion.
Some chives.
A little bit of chives.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that sounds nice. What the hell were we talking about?
Getting a little snack talk in there. It's not even about like Halloween candy or for that matter, any kind of like Italian.
Femi, you know, he's great. I think he should take the title from Trick. I can also see him just going to the main roster without winning the NXT title. But he's great. That being said, Tony D is probably going to win here. And despite his best efforts, I think the family could get involved.
Yeah, on this episode, for anybody that might have missed it, Adriana Rizzo was attacked, but we don't know by who. It's kind of implied that it might have been Nikita Lyons. We'll see. And Luca Crucifino got put through a ladder and Channing Stax Lorenzo got put through a table. So Oba Femi had said prior to this, like last week or the week before, that the family was not going to be ringside. And I remember typing out something and being like, well, they didn't announce it. It was like a lumberjack match, or that it was going to be like some kind of that they're banned from ringside or any of that kind of stuff. Well, now we know why. It's because he was just going to beat the shit out of him. So, whether that is like Nikita Lyons comes out and she gets involved and that's what they're doing with the whole Femi thing. Maybe that's a factor and he wins the title back. But it seems kind of weird to me for that to happen, because why pin him just to give him the belt back and then put him in a ladder match where he doesn't need to get pinned? So I'm leaning very heavily pro Tony D on this one.
I would say pro Tony D. I'm not as sure as you, but I would say I'm pro Tony D.
I would say I'm more sure about that than any match other than the main event. And that main event, by the way, for anybody that's not aware, Devil's Playground match for the NXT Championship. Trick Williams against Ethan Page. Trick had lost the belt to Ethan Page in a multi-man match. He didn't get pinned by him. Trick won the title back from Ethan Page. So this is the rubber match, but technically speaking, if you really want to be like, the semantic side of it, it's not quite in some ways, because there was a multi-man match and he didn't get pinned, like all that. So Trick has the edge up on Ethan Page. And the hot potato situation, maybe they do switch it back, but I don't think that they will. I am 100% on this one. Trick Williams is going to retain. And the fact that it's a Devil's Playground match, normally in this scenario, I would think maybe there's somebody that's going to come out and that they're going to interfere and they're going to cost Trick, because it's happened so many times before. But I think they're just going to have a straight up normal match, like a normal no DQ match.
Yeah, I would hope for a little bit more than a normal no DQ, but I see where you're going. I gotta be honest with you, I am so ready for them to move on from this.
This has to be the end of it.
It will be, but it's like, how? Like, how long have they been doing this? It's been since what, July?
It's been a while. Yeah. And I don't remember what Battleground was.
It was, I think I'm right. But in any case, Paige still hasn't beaten him one-on-one. Which, to me, should give reason for him to win. But I don't think they're going to. I think Trick Williams just wins. And then maybe they... I
think Wesley's the next to challenge.
Yeah, I could see it.
I don't know if they could do that because of, like Wesley beats Javon Evans. They do another thing like that. Or if it's like Wesley just comes out, challenges Trick, somewhere along the way, it's going to be Trick versus Wesley. And I don't think that that's Stand and Deliver. I think that that's before that. But they still haven't announced deadline yet. So, I don't know.
I'm sure we'll know by the end of, not by the end of this pay-per-view, but I'm sure we'll know relatively soon.
If we don't know by the end of Halloween Havoc, I think we'll know by the end of the next episode of NXT.
Or by the end of the one in the ECW arena.
When is that one?
Not next week, but the week after.
Okay. So yeah.
Because it's on Wednesday, because they're going to Wednesday because of Election Day on Tuesday.
Oh my God, is that already?
Yep.
Okay. Wow, this year. But yeah, so we're both going Trick, and the Devil's Playground thing, maybe that does factor in. Maybe Trick gets attacked by somebody and they start a new feud, but I don't think so. And I think if anything, Ethan Page is the guy that's going to start a feud with somebody else sometime after this. I don't know who, but they'll keep him busy in some way. But that one I'm the most into as far as like my prediction goes. Then the Tony D one, and then the other three, they could go in a couple different ways. So, if you're trying to bet based off of my predictions, that is at least what I've got going on, or like what Rob's got going on for now at like 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning. And if things change, then we'll have some updated predictions, and maybe Smark Out Moments the updated thing. Maybe it's not. Right now, I don't remember what I have.
Fightful.com will have the update.
I mean, as far as my own predictions, like I don't know.
Oh, that's right, because you do the predictions.
Yeah, then I update them every once in a while. But sometimes when we get into like, it's like it's Wednesday already. Like I might not update them in the meantime. That's the benefit of listening to the podcast is that you get the more up to date things when I do the podcast. But that's kind of it. I don't think they're going to add any more matches. I don't think that there's anything else to really break down. Nothing that should be happening on SmackDown that should influence on this or anything. But like I said, if they announce something ahead of the hot tags, we will address that on the hot tags. If not, then come Sunday, we'll be watching this pay-per-view. We'll be having our live post show immediately following. Talk about what happened, talk about what we didn't like, and what we think is going to go forward out of this and all that good stuff. So keep all that in mind. Make sure that you are subscribed, ring that notification bell, leave those comments below. Check out all the stuff we mentioned about all the other Marketplace thing for you to help us out. Check out fanboysanonymous.com. Check out that fantasy spooking thing that I put up there. Check out the not so sinister, not so scary dark casts that we have up on there. But hey, if you're afraid of the dark cast, then check that out. And go to amangotree.com. You got a link tree of all sorts of different links from Fanboys Anonymous and Smark Out Moment and my own stuff that's out there. I'm gonna have to adjust that pretty soon and maybe make some tweaks. But in the meantime, that's where you can find a lot of that crap. And AnthonyMango.com is exactly the same thing. So follow me on all those different platforms and make sure that you're following Rob too. And Rob doesn't know that he's muted, I think.
Oh, shit. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. Well, for the most part, I'll be here. I should actually... It's Sunday, right?
Sunday, yeah.
So you might get a rare post-show podcast where Rob gets to be on it.
If you are, then there you are. If not, I'll be flying solo, Koa, for that. We won't know until it happens.
I love you, Solo.
I love that became a thing. Because when that happened, I just busted out laughing at the time. I love you. And I told you.
And now it's his catchphrase.
Yeah. So you're at Dude Felice. That's where everybody can follow you.
I am. I'm at Dude Felice. You know where to find me. You can find me there. You can find me at Fightful.com. You can find me in my house. Not in your house. That's a different NXT show.
Well, you heard it. Rob's inviting you all over for hot potatoes.
To this day, Tony Mango is the only one that's been in my house, and he's the only one who will be in my house.
The only one. Rob hasn't even been in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Alrighty, everybody. Well, it is over as far as the pay-per-view-point stuff is concerned, but at least for that part of it, we do have the other one following on the pay-per-view night. So stay tuned for the hot tags coming up on Friday, and we'll be talking about things like Samantha Irvin being replaced by Lillian Garcia, which that was shocking for me while I was traveling to see the news popping up on my feed and multiple people being like, you check out what's happening with Samantha, and me being like, oh, what happened? And then it's like, oh shit, And we'll talk about what Carlito said on Raw. I didn't watch that episode of Raw, but I've been hearing about this, so I'm gonna have to try to check that segment out. And the new Intercontinental Champion and all sorts of other things. So hot tags coming up next. And in the meantime, just click around, hit the like button, the subscribe button, all that good stuff. And we will see you when we see you. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment. And we are being counted out.